Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Carain Yeung.
And I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. Government to submit bill to LegCo to ban e-cigarettes.
And Democrats call plan to allow extradition between Hong Kong, Taiwan and the mainland a Trojan horse.
And university researchers find foreign domestic workers are overworked and in poor health.
The government will table an amendment bill to the Legislative Council next Wednesday to ban all e-cigarettes and other alternative smoking products.
However, the bill does not target buyers or users of the products. Yeung reports.
The government is pushing ahead with legislation to ban all e-cigarettes in Hong Kong, following health warnings from doctors and recommendations from teachers to outlaw them. According to an amendment bill that will be submitted to the Legislative Council next Wednesday, it proposes to prohibit the import, sale, manufacture, distribution and promotion of alternative smoking products. This includes e-cigarettes, heat-not-burn products and herbal cigarettes. The maximum penalty for breaching the law would be 6 months in prison and a $50,000 fine. Advertisers of e-cigarettes would face an even stiffer punishment, a fine of $1,500 for each day the offense continued, on top of the $50,000 fine. But the ban does not target buyers or users of alternative smoking products.
I don't think we have a reason to want to criminalize users of these new smoking products. I think this is in line with our approach to smokers of conventional products or even the banned smokeless tobacco products. We don't want to criminalize them, but we want to encourage them to quit.
Industry insiders have argued that a blanket ban could drive e-cigarettes and other new smoking products to the black market.
I suppose there will always be people trying to circumvent any regulation as such, but we try to put in place a control as comprehensive as we can. And as I've mentioned earlier, what we're trying to do is to nip the problem in the bud.
The bill will be published in the Government Gazette on Friday and submitted to LegCo for first reading on the 20th of February. If the bill is passed, the law is expected to come into effect 6 months after the Gazette date. The Food and Health Bureau said cargo and visitors transiting through Hong Kong would be exempt. It reminded tourists not to bring e-cigarettes and other alternative smoking products into the city, or they will be prosecuted. However, there will be a 3-month grace period for visitors after the law is enacted. Yeung, HKIBC.
A Chinese university survey has found that more than 7 in 10 foreign domestic helpers in Hong Kong work 13 hours or more per day.
Researchers called for more support for workers, as the same survey also found that their physical and mental health conditions were worse than local residents. Hong Kong's foreign domestic helper population continues to grow, but the difficulties they face often go unnoticed. Researchers from Chinese university unveiled alarming findings today of the employment and health conditions of helpers. Between May and September 2017, the university's Research Center on Migration and Mobility surveyed 2,017 foreign domestic helpers from the Philippines and Indonesia. More than 70% said they worked over 13 hours a day. About 35% even had to work on their day off. Less than half of those surveyed had their own private room, and about 4% claimed they had been physically abused by their employer. The same survey also found that foreign domestic helpers were not as healthy as Hong Kongers. Workers scored 47.1 for physical health and 44.7 for mental health. A separate survey released last year found local adult residents scored 51.8 for physical health and 55.5 for mental health. Researchers linked the lower health scores with helpers' poor working conditions. While most helpers often face difficulties at work, researchers said it was not easy for them to get the support they needed.
We are specifically talking about social services which are supported by the social workers in Hong Kong, because such kind of units is actually funded by the government, so it's kind of like a semi-governmental organizations. And these organizations should be providing a more one-stop service.
Big added that service units should provide different levels of holistic services, including counseling, healthcare support, and shelters for the abused.
Pan-Democrats say they are opposed to the government's plan to allow extradition between Hong Kong, Taiwan, and the mainland, which they see as a Trojan horse.
But Security Secretary John Lee said the proposal was made to plug legal loopholes and prevent fugitives from seeking refuge in the city. More from Yeung.
A day after the Security Bureau proposed to break down judicial barriers to hand over fugitives in Hong Kong to areas that did not have an extradition treaty with the city, such as the mainland, Pan-Democrats said they strongly opposed the plan due to human rights concerns.
The Democrats are extremely worried that this new proposed extradition arrangement could prove a Trojan horse for Hong Kong. In a way, it's going to take down the judicial barrier under our one country, two system promise. We're worried that Hong Kongers and perhaps dissidents living in Hong Kong, Chinese dissidents, could face framed charges.
Currently, Hong Kong is allowed to extradite fugitives to places without formal extradition arrangements on a case-by-case basis, although it is not applicable to any other parts of China. This type of one-off extradition is required to be scrutinized by the Legislative Council, which takes between 28 days and 3 months. But the Security Bureau is now hoping to remove the geographical limit